I see these commercials every day, and I'm trying to I'm secure enough in my own life that I'm kind of like, I don't know why this is bugging the hell out of me.
Okay, well, talk to me about it.
But I can't handle it anymore.
Okay.
If I see another Peloton commercial, I'm going to scratch my eyeballs out. I can't do the Peloton. Listen, I know I'm 55. I'm not the target audience, although the damn commercials are showing up in every show I watch.
Well, you are the target. Yeah.
I'm 55 years old. I'm not, but 55 years old. Are they? Okay,
yeah, because think about it. Here's exactly why you're the target audience.
They are so getting on my nerve, and I'm like, Tony, what is wrong with you? And I'm to the point now where I will turn the TV, change the station when I see one of their commercials. They are so flipping annoying. I can't be the only one they're annoying. I haven't gotten any Peloton sucks sites or hashtag Peloton.
What is it about them that are annoying to you?
No ego, amigo.
Yeah,
hand clap from across the room or across the world. You got this. I mean, I'm like,
it's cheesy,
dude. Cheesy.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes all the way back to when they first came out a couple of years ago, where they had the rich woman and they gave her hell for it, and it took off, and then some kid died because he rolled off the back of one, and that I don't know what happened there. I thought, okay, good, it's the end of it, and it never. We've had Peloton type crap out for 100 years. And normally around this time of the year is when it comes out, because everyone wants to get fitness stuff. They're looking for Christmas ideas. And now Peloton's only $39 a month instead of whatever.
Well, yeah, because
their commercials are so damn annoying. I cannot watch them anymore.
Okay, well,
I know it's really bothering me. This morning, I'm watching the Weather Channel, just to find out what the weather was going to do today. And there's no ego, amigo. Just live it. And I'm like, dude, you got this. And I'm like,
okay.
Knowing that at least in my generation, this crap is really good for about 3 or 4 weeks.
No, but New
Year's resolution is coming up. You're going to work out on it, and then you're going to be hanging laundry from it from the 1st of February.
They just want to sell it.
Oh, I know.
So they're doing it. Few things. First of all,
now you got Mirror.
Yeah.
You got
Mirror's,
Tone.
Mirror's pretty cool.
You got it is.
Okay, so,
and I understand there's I get all this. I don't know why it's just bugging me.
I'm telling you, just be quiet.
All right.
I'm going to tell you why. Okay. First of all, you are roughly the target audience, because your age means that you need, again, roughly.
Yeah.
Your age means that you either need to get in shape, or you're looking for sort of that next level to get in shape, or you got enough money that it's a classy bit of material. It's not a bunch of ways. That's number one. Number two, since the pandemic since gyms have opened up, all of these home-based things are hurting. They're hurting. So that's why the prices are coming down, number one. And number two is why they're pushing so much of it. They need to sell product because everybody's going back to the gym. Mm-hmm. Number three, the piece that, kind of annoys you is the connected support network, people pulling after. Yeah, I know. I understand that. And that's not for everybody. Listen, that's not for, but there's definitely people who that's appealing to them. That it is. They want to feel like they're connected, and they don't necessarily want to go to the gym. And then the last one is you secretly wish that you were part of the Peloton community, and you're just using a defense mechanism called reaction formation, where you take the exact opposite of what you really believe, which is, I really wish I could be a part of the Peloton community, but I don't feel like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of being a part of the Peloton.
I hate you.
I know you do.
I hate you.
But that is the thing. The commercials they're over the top. I really think, seriously.
They're so flipping annoying.
I really think it's two things. I definitely think, and because we're seeing this in the fitness industry, all of the home-based stuff took a hit when the gyms opened back up. When the gyms weren't open, oh my God, they were selling this stuff like crazy.
Yeah.
That's number one. And then number two is they've got to make it's expensive. So they got to make it.
What's a Peloton go for? $3-4 grand, something like that. I mean,
they lowered their price. They lowered their prices, but
anything where there's an installment, that's going to be expensive.
Well, no, and the other thing that makes it expensive, to be honest with you, because they have a lot of these on treadmills and whatnot. It's the monthly fee for the connection, the internet connection to all the virtual real time training. So you can just have a Peloton and just do your thing on it.
Yeah.
But it is basically, it's like it's joining a virtual gym. I know.
It is a racket.
It is a lot.
It is such a racket.
They're out.
Because they get you, and then all of a sudden you're by yourself. You get your ear pods in or you're watching television, and next thing you know, you want it, then you have to pay to have the subscription, to have a personal trainer, someone do a class.
Yes.
And it's just the whole, you got that. And I'm just like, and listen, I've been in a spinning class. You do yoga classes. Yeah. I get that. But I mean, that's when you're in a room with other people.
Right.
To be by yourself.
Well, so here's the other thing.
No, I will say, go ahead. No,
here's the other thing. There's definitely folks who don't feel comfortable in the gym. This is totally independent of COVID.
Yeah.
There are people who don't feel comfortable in the gym. Maybe they don't like the way their body image, they don't like the way they look, or they feel overweight, or they feel, again, that they just don't feel comfortable with other people in a spin class that tight. And then the other thing is people's schedules. I mean, part of the argument for some of this fitness stuff is you don't have to go anywhere. You can do it in your office. So, and again, I'm not a spokesperson for Peloton, but I understand why they have a market. And look, if the stuff wasn't selling, we wouldn't be seeing all this.
No, you're right. I mean, that's the one thing I like about like Planet Fitness. They fly in the face of the muscle heads and the people, because when you look at a Peloton commercial, there's no one ugly in a Peloton commercial.
Right.
There is absolutely, and they're tight pants, yoga pants. There's absolutely, they make sure they get their ass bouncing around.
Right. Well, and if you do that, you can have your ass bouncing.
or I could be get me some of that ass.
Well,
because I'm working out.
That's right. They can see you.
You're right to an extent that I do envy, obviously, looking like that and being. But again, I would love to know, because I'm telling you, we had a treadmill in our house.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We've all had a treadmill. I don't know anyone that has.
Absolutely.
I don't know anyone that hasn't bought an exercise bicycle or a Peloton or some type of thing at some point in time, and we're into it. But I would love to know the percentage of people that actually stay into it longer than say
probably,
2 months.
Yeah, I think the last study I read, it's probably less than 20%.
I was going to say 10.
Well, it's less than 20%.
So it's kind of like,
you buy it, you're into it. Most people, less than 20% of people who join gyms or buy exercise equipment stick with it consistently for more than, I think it's 3 months.
And listen, if you're trying to be better and you're going out and investing in something like that, that's great. That's like trying to stop smoking, knowing you're gonna, it's not gonna work.
Yep.
But at least you're trying,
Yep.
and I appreciate that. I am one of the reasons I think we are getting increasingly more fat is because we do have all these conveniences of people shopping for us now. We don't go to stores anymore. We're doing Amazon stuff. Thank you for ordering that stuff. Now, you do your Amazon thing because I need you to do that. But the working out thing, and I do think there is a bit of a piece of pressure in knowing that when you have, and certainly through Zoom and everything, by getting to the gym and doing your thing.
Yes.
And that's why in-person stuff a lot of times works a lot better than that person.
Listen.
Because you're obligated. It's accountability. That's where it's accountability to be. Where have you been? You haven't been in your classes. It forces you to go.
It is. Listen,
we see. You know what we see this a lot in church.
Yeah, well,
people aren't going to church anymore because they started watching online.
Right.
And they're like, well, hell, I can walk. Now, our church, I don't think, does it online because they're like, get your ass to church. We did this because it was COVID and we couldn't be open. But now I got friends of mine that were church-going people for years, and all of a sudden they're watching some mass in Kentucky.
Right.
And I'm like, really? And I'm like, that's not the same. And they're like, sure. And I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, read the Bible. You got to be there. There's something about being, not say that prayer alone, there's meditation, but to be in the house of the Lord is different than watching it online because you're not paying attention. You're sitting there brushing your teeth while you're, and so that's kind of the same thing with working out on a Peloton.
So, geez, there's a lot there.
I know.
So, on the religious front, every person of faith or leader of faith will tell you, I'm assuming, actually I shouldn't assume, many will say that it is not the building where God lies, right? It's in your heart. You don't have to be in the building.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what you're saying is, and I get it, when you're in the building, you got your ass dressed, you drove over there.
You're right.
You're right. So you're probably much more engaged. That being said, there are people who can't get to the building, if you will, for one reason or another, and they're very devout and they're having their story. But yes, halfway watching a sermon while you're also watching the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders does not count.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you there. Gym is absolutely the same thing. We know that accountability counts for everything. We know that that's why group fitness stuff, it is huge. And in part, it is exactly what you said. It's once you start going, the regulars, they won't shame you, but the regulars will be, where you been?
Yep.
And I can tell you, during the pandemic, when I was shut down, and I've worked out my entire life.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many days working out at home. I started working out, and then I'm on my phone. I mean, like in between sets, I'm on my phone, and then I'm looking at my clock. Okay, I got 20 minutes in. I would never drive to a gym, go in there for 15 minutes, and go, nah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so yes, it absolutely is that accountability, that social accountability, and nobody's got to call you out, but it's just. And you're right. It's even to the next step. It's not even that anyone would say anything. It's knowing that you're missing and somebody's going to know that you're missing. That is. Yeah. Now, I will tell you this. With fitness, people have got all kinds of cognitive, mental pretzels that get them out of that one. Yeah. Well, I was gonna, and my leg hurt, and blah, blah, blah. But I tell people all the time, the people that I work with, the people that I train, I always say this. The most important part is getting yourself to the thing, the exercise.
That's why, and we've had fitness trainers on, where if you're going to join a gym, don't join a gym that's 35 minutes away because you'll never go. It's got to be convenient. It's got to be something close to your home. It's got to make it easy as possible for you to get there and get out. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it goes with everything. Listen, I'll tell you this. I'm Jewish. My wife is Episcopalian. When my son was growing up, we went downtown or to Southside to go to a temple every week. Sunday school, religious school. He became a song leader. I was there all the time. His bar mitzvah, blah, blah, blah. And when he left, I slowed down. I started going only on high holidays. And then there is this church that my wife goes to. It is exactly 4 minutes from my house.
That's great. You're still going. That's good.
But part of the reason I go, not only, I'm still Jewish, but a large part of the reason I go is, number one, Josiah Rangers is an amazing orator and speaker, etc. But I got to be honest, it's 4 minutes away.
Yep.
And Julie asked me this one time. She said, "You're Jewish. If Temple was 4 minutes away, would you go?" Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I would. I absolutely would. And the sad thing, I will admit this, to me, is it is not important enough for me to drive 22 minutes.
Yeah. I think you bring up a great point, and I'm glad that we see eye to eye on this, because I know that you're black and white because you're a psychologist, you're a scientist.
No, I'm great.
You're a scientist.
I'm never black and white. Nothing's
But
black.
I mean, when you're talking about actually having to be at something,
yes.
There was a great story about addiction and uptick in what we're going to be dealing with over the next few years as far as an alcohol, obesity. We just let ourselves go in a lot of places. It seems like, there's going to be more. The middle ground, the middle class is going to be a void. You're either down here or you're up here. True. You got to make a call there. And so whether it's going to, and that's why these online therapy sessions, I'm afraid that for sheer fact of convenience now, we're going to stop going through the process of taking a shower, looking nice, driving to the therapist, going to the doctor, and instead go, I can do this here. Now, if you're doing that religiously and you're doing that when you need it, super. Yeah, that's great. Right, that's wonderful. Yeah. But the majority of us aren't doing that. People are watching church on their phones. They're not going to, AA had to go. AA had to go through Zoom. Well, we used to have 35 or 40 people. And that interaction, and now this is a support group, okay? But you could certainly make an argument that gyms are support groups, therapies are support groups. Whenever you're around other people, we used to have 35 or 40 people show up, had coffee, talked. You'd be there half an hour before, half an hour after. It took me 15 minutes I enjoyed the drive, helped me a minute. And now people are like, I don't know how to do Zoom, or I don't want to do Zoom. It's not the same. I'll just wait till they open up again. Well, I got news for you. They may not open up again. And so,
It's interesting that people say, and I understand that it's not the same, but what's really interesting to me, and I may be alone in this or in the minority on this, the virtual does make it easier. Logistically, it makes it easier. So what's really interesting to me, and I have yet to wrap my head around this, is if it is easier, it should be easier to engage in it.
It
right?
should be.
I mean, like, you should have less reason to not be there. You should be able to, because think about the mental health thing, and they're talking a lot. This is a huge issue in mental health because there's so many people that don't have access or limited access, or they can't get away from work or whatever. So you would think that a Zoom where you can see the therapist, and this is like, it's like this. You can see their face. If you want to zoom back, you can see their body. You would think that would make it easier. Hey, I don't need to take an hour and a half on each side.
Yep.
I go online, and yet a lot of people are saying, and I don't know how much I actually believe that everybody, it's not the same. The interaction I'm saying, I agree, but it's not the same, but it's also easier. Right? So which one? It's not the same.
It's amazing how many people used to have regular therapeutic sessions, AA meetings, whatever it was, that it's much easier now to go, I'm busy that day or I can't do that. My kids, all of them, everyone in my family goes to therapy. We'll easily, it's virtual. It's on the phone because it doesn't.
Think that's weird.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because it is easier, but it doesn't feel like it's as important.
Yeah, I agree.
From an accountability standpoint,
I agree.
To have a 20-minute session with a therapist over Zoom as opposed to going to the office, sitting down, having pleasantries, and actually having that absorption of humanity.
It's what it is. Just technical. It's loss aversion. I think this is really. Oh God, this is so geeky. I'll just quickly going to the session. You've already invested. Not just money, but you've invested time, opportunity cost.
Yep.
Like you said, you had to get dressed, you had to drive, you had to go. You had to take more time. So you have to have more commitment to go to something in person. Whereas you're right, it's easier to go virtual, which means you can be less invested, which means it's easier because I'm less invested to blow it off.
It doesn't mean as much. You're right.
This is genius, what we're doing here. This is very important.
And life is cyclical. It is. One way or another, it comes back. It may not go all the way back around, but I'm telling you, through all of this virtual stuff, and I had a really interesting conversation with my director of programming about, where internet radio is going, and it's from a virtual standpoint. How can we, because that's what the whole metaverse thing is. It's all going to be virtual.
Yep.
That's the next big thing, evidently, everyone's talking about. And it just scares the bejeebers out of me that we're, now some of it, because I'm a guy that needs to be around people.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously love having you here more so than doing the show by myself. But I like having people around. I'm an extrovert. I love having people.
The only reason I'm here is for your support. It's not content. It's just you like having.
No, it's sure it's content because I have some. But
I could sit here with you while you do the show.
Yeah, but I mean, are we going to start virtually smoking on Saturdays?
We could. I tried that once.
Think about that for a minute.
By the way, I was going to invite you.
No, this is
perfect. Got a girl night.
This is perfect. Good. Invite me.
Okay.
This is perfect. This is a perfect analogy. So you and I, we haven't done it in a while. We didn't get back to it. We used to smoke cigars every Saturday at 1 o'clock by your pool. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it.
Yes.
So if you said, listen, COVID, busy, don't have as much time, whatever, I've got from 1 to 2 o'clock on Saturday. Why don't we set up a Zoom? You smoke a cigar, I smoke a cigar. We're still having conversation. We still see each other.
No,
that would suck.
Listen, I didn't.
So why does that suck so bad? I don't want to smoke a cigar because I'm by myself, but I'm not by myself. I'm with you. Yeah. It's not the same as sitting next to a warm body.
I totally agree. I don't think for social purposes, to me, it's more out of necessity. Well, that's what I. So what I mean by that is, if you can't go to a gym for whatever reason, or you can't get to church, or you can't get to the AA. Again, think about COVID. There were reasons why we did it. We did it because it was not safe too, so we were doing it as a substitute. So to me, if you can't get somewhere, or it's extremely difficult to get somewhere, and I'm not saying extremely difficult like, I just don't feel like driving 4 miles. It's really difficult. Then using the virtual technology is a good way.
It's better than nothing, sure.
Absolutely. And but the thing that I wonder, I really wonder this. It's getting better and better. I mean, and everybody knows this. Right now with the pandemic and all this stuff, we all have gotten used to crappy Zoom calls. And it's not just Zoom. I'm hammering on Zoom. It's any
Yeah.
Insanity. It's Skype. Yeah. And to the point where we're used to it. We're used to your face freezing, all that kind of stuff. But we've talked about this before. Imagine if it was crystal clear. Imagine if, we know how good our television sets are, right? The plasma, the high definition. Imagine if I just, pushed a button and you were here. I'm looking at you now. We're about 4 or 5 feet away.
Well, that's what we're talking about doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we already see most of the times when you see interviews on ESPN or NBC Nightly News or Fox or whatever, they're not together.
Right.
They make it look like midday shows are doing a lot of this, where they have the green screen. There's a person sitting in one room in London. You're sitting in L.A. You're looking at a green so you can see the person, and you have an interview, and then you put it together, and it looks like they're in the same room. I don't know. I just want us to be super careful about human interaction as a whole.
I totally agree with you. I think
it has to do with the fact that we're more irritable. I don't think people realize that not being around warm-bodied people with a common cause is more important than ever than sitting in a room by yourself looking at a screen and feeling like you're in the same room. It's just not the same.
Well, the other thing is that we have we're losing our social skills. So part of the reason we're uncomfortable with other people now that we're going back in person, I've seen 2 things. One, and I know this for myself, I told you this, when I went out and had to do some public speaking, I was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was uncomfortable in 2 different ways. One, just the public speaking. Like when I do public speaking, give me the lapel mic, I'm all over. I'm like a preacher. I'm running, I don't like to stand behind the podium. I took a couple steps out of the podium and I felt clunky. I found myself back at the podium. But the second thing was the post talk interaction. Like I just felt, I can't explain it. I felt like I was working hard to interact with people afterwards, and they were talking to me, and it felt like a lot of mental work that usually doesn't. Yeah. I didn't run out, but I was like, okay, thank you, I got to go home. Now, one of the other things that I've seen is people who are, who crave that kind of interaction. And this is with some of the companies I work with. They're out and they're able to interact. They're acting kind of, if you will, socially inappropriately. They're overly enthusiastic. They are spilling their guts. Again, there's nothing wrong with that inherently, except when you're in a business setting. I don't need necessarily to know how much you love me and how your life has been changed. But it's like people for the first time, they're going to hug anything that they can get their hands on.
Yeah.